Roll call.
Counselor Eater,
Here.
Counselor Wall,
Here.
Counselor Astorga,
Here.
Counselor Donahue. Here. Counselor Ott.
Here.
Counselor Hofer.
Here.
And our student counselor is absent this evening. And then Mayor Black.
Here. Okay, any presentations for you said none?
No, I do not have any this evening.
Okay. Correspondence. Got a letter from the auditors. Any information on the audit? They're not gonna be here tonight, is that's correct?
My understanding is they're not.
Okay.
Tara's online if you'd like, you could probably chime in.
They presented all their information at the last council meeting. So this is, they finally, when they presented, the audit was in its draft mode, waiting to be finalized. And it has since been finalized. So this is their official letter and documents from the audit being finalized.
And have we corrected the segregation of duties that they brought up?
Yes, immediately when I found out after last meeting, we addressed it at City Hall.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Appearance of interested citizens, don't see any. Review of accounts payable, number 7A. Any comments or questions?
Actually had one. It was the $2,700 for the Survey Monkey, for the membership, for the ARPA fund survey. So did that come out of the ARPA funds or was that? Because it's marked as ARPA, so was that something that came out of that we didn't see in the overall budget when we were itemizing all the line items for the ARPA funds?
Correct. We coded that to the ARPA funds that we received from the federal government.
And when that happened, when the decision was made, it was well before the final rule came out. And you might remember that's when we did the community survey. And the only way that we could do the community survey in a way that would be meaningful was to buy a membership. Otherwise, we were extremely limited in what we could do.
Well, Tony makes a good point. I think the transparency needs to be there. If we're spending money, we need to know about it. You know, even here, it would have been great if somebody would have made an announcement that we're spending these funds. So, thank you.
Is that membership for like a year or is it more than just that survey?
Yes, it's just 1 year.
Okay, thank you. But we can survey like crazy all year, then, right?
Yes.
Oh, good.
That's right.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, the other one was the outdoor theater company. What was that for? That was on page 21 on the packet under the US Bank Service Center.
So this is Jackie Mills, and that one was mine. And let me give you some background. If you remember last I don't know, March or so, we got a Libraries Transforming Communities grant from the ALA, American Library Association, for $3,000. I originally intended to hire a Spanish speaker part-time library worker for the summer. And despite trying really hard, I could not find anybody who wanted to apply. So I had all this money left over that needed to be spent. And so I contacted the people that take care of the grant, and they said that we could spend the money on something that came out of our community conversations. And one of the things that came out of that was really obvious was that teens wanted more to do. And the other piece of that is that somebody actually said it'd be really cool to have like movies in the park in the summer. So that's what that is. It's grant money that purchased the equipment to have outdoor movies.
Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate that.
Mhm.
Anything else? Okay, we'll move on to item 8A, approve city council meeting minutes, February 7th. Comments on that? Hearing none,
I move approval of the consent agenda.
motion by Keith,
Second.
second by David. You,
Our student counselor is absent tonight. Counselor Hooper,
Aye.
Counselor Eager,
aye.
Counselor Wall,
Aye.
Counselor Astorga,
Aye.
Counselor Donahue,
Aye.
Counselor Hahn,
Aye.
Mayor Collette.
Aye. Thank you. Unfinished business, A, public right-of-way ordinance 771. And we talked about this last month and we need to have 2 readings in order to make it official by title. The one thing that bothers me is we're gonna change our fee schedule and no one knows what the fees are gonna be, but it's gonna be impacted by this. So I know they've been working on it and haven't gotten it done yet, at least as far as I know. I want to pass this, but I have a problem passing something when I don't know what it's gonna cost.
Well, it's not gonna cost the citizens of the community, that's the thing. Who's going to be paying for this is the companies that are going to be asking for a right of way, to be able to, work on utilities and those types of things, so it's not gonna be.
It'll all come back around one way or another back to the citizens. I mean, someone's got to pay for it. And when you ask a contractor to pay more, they're going to charge more. And so that's my beef. That, as Mayor Fleck said, I have a real big problem with that because it might come back to bite us. We just don't know. And if we just give them a blank check to say, hey, you can charge us whatever you want. I'm not okay with that either.
Well, I can tell you that city staff has been working hard to try and figure out what the fees are, and what the fees would be, based on what other communities are doing. Tara's spending a lot of time calling around and trying to figure that out. And I believe that we have, in fact, reached back to our city attorney, who recommended this ordinance come forward, and asked them to provide us with some examples of what those fees would be. And then to bring that to council and then to do that. But obviously the trying to get this ordinance done, so that we can go into that agreement or start really negotiating with Comcast is I think the real push on this. So I appreciate what you're saying though.
The fees are gonna be charged not to the citizens, but to the company Comcast, for example.
Correct.
Okay.
Who, like Councilor Story said, I'm sure are going to pass it on just like they do everything else.
Comcast rates will go up.
Well, who knows what they are and who knows what they might be.
But if we, if any of us or all of us, have heartburn of whatever the fees come back to us, we don't have to approve those fees. We can keep them the same as they are. So I think, I mean, I get what you're saying. I understand that, but we need to do this to get the ball, to keep the ball moving. So I'm always concerned about fees, but we always have the opportunity to say yes or no.
Any other comments? How do we move forward on this then?
We would need to do a first reading and second reading tonight, since there is the emergency clause written into this ordinance. So we would go first reading, you have to read the title, and we have a motion. And then we do the same for the second.
Okay. And if we're ready, I'll go ahead by title here. An ordinance adding the public right-of-way management ordinance to the Mount Angel Municipal Code, Title 9, Chapter 93, for governing the use and occupation of the public right-of-way.
I'll move approval of ordinance 771 on first reading by title only.
Yeah. Second. David, thank you. Okay, we have a motion. Pete, second. David, for ordinance 771.
All right, Counselor Donahue? Aye. Counselor Hawes?
Hi.
Counselor Hopper? Aye. Counselor Eager?
Aye.
Counselor Wall?
Aye.
Counselor Astoria?
Aye.
Mayor Platt?
Aye. Okay, and then second reading. Ordinance number 771, an ordinance adding the public right-of-way management ordinance, the Mount Angel Municipal Code, Title 9, Chapter 93, for governing the use and occupation of the public rights of the way.
Okay, I'll move approval of ordinance number 771 on the second reading.
Thanks, Pete.
I'll second.
Who's second over here? Tony?
I think we got thirds on that one.
Cast
they're not.
thousands.
Was it you? Good. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 771. Rejected, I guess.
Counselor Donahue? Aye. Counselor Hawes?
Hi.
Counselor Hopper? Aye. Counselor Eater?
Aye.
Counselor Wall?
Aye.
Counselor Astoria?
Aye.
And Mayor Platt?
Aye. Okay, the next item on the agenda is committee recommendations on ARPA funds. Discussion item. Well, I'm gonna start this off. I really appreciate the staff getting together and giving us some real numbers. But, here comes the big but, we've only talked to less than 2% of our community. And I would like to get out and ask people what they want to do with the money. And these ideas are good, but we really only talk to our inner circle on this.
We met with the budget committee, they recommended that we approve it. Yeah. We also met with the infrastructure committee, but we didn't have as much information on it.
When do we have to have this money allocated? 24?
I think we have until 2026 to spend it.
Okay.
You're correct, though. We have to have projects in place by 2024. I have to start reporting at the end of April what we're doing with the money. So that gives us 2 months.
Only one meeting.
What's that?
I mean, we would need to do the research between now and we'd have just a couple weeks to do the research and get.
Well, yeah, my recommendation to you is talk to your neighbors, talk to the people you run into, people that live in our community, and see what they say. I just really have a problem passing this until people just say, I don't care. And that, that might be what they say. I don't think so, but
What was it, like 78 people voted online? Something like that?
Tara, was that the Survey Monkey? that you
Yes,
sent
that
out?
was. I sent it out on Facebook. I put it on our city website and I put the link on our utility bill that went to every person.
I just needed to let it know.
Unfortunately, that's how a lot of that goes. in the Common on Angel, so I don't know how else unless you're putting, well, you sent it out in the letter, so it's gonna say drop it off on people's front doors. But
well, like I said. And
gonna have
there's a
to be-
lot of good items in this. There's a lot of motivation and hopefully retain some people. So I know that's what you're shooting at, chief. But again, if we've got another month, and I know you don't want to wait another month, but I certainly would like to talk to people about this. And again, Pete, you mentioned they did it with the budget committee and we did it infrastructure.
So yeah, I mean, you never know how much input you're gonna get, but we certainly haven't been working in the back. And we have tried to involve people through
Yes,
Facebook and the survey and
absolutely.
then those two meetings, but maybe somebody else out there has more opinions, I don't know.
Well, I'm personally completely happy with the list of projects. I think it's spread around and gonna benefit not only all the departments in our city, but each one of those benefits, the public in different ways. I think they've put it on Facebook, put it on the water bill. If people had that much interest, I think they would have responded and said something. So I'm happy with that. I'd like to move forward.
My only add-on that I had even at the budget meeting as well was kind of the whole point was to, kind of thank our first responders, our public works employees that didn't have a choice. You had to show up, you had to do your job, you have a job to do, regardless of whether you find it in the way you find COVID wherever out there. I really feel like we need to incentivize them to stay a little bit, because I know a lot of them are burnt out. And just a thank you from that, to say, hey, we see you, we know you're there. And thank you for working, when everyone else got to stay home. So I really think, our public works and police officers and our firefighters, the folks who actually worked through the whole pandemic should, get something, whether it be $1,000 or $2,000, it's chump change compared to what we're putting out for a basketball court and whatnot, but just something to say thank you. We appreciate you. This is, I'm part of the city. Thank you.
And I have to say, I agree with Tony on that, and we have, that's one of the allowed uses of that, is to do something for that. But when we get through these projects, I don't want to lose sight of that concept, but if everything goes well, we'll still have $56,542 available.
Right.
And if some of those other projects come in at less than the estimates, it could be higher. But I agree that we should.
I still think it should be a line item aside from the contingency. I think it should be its own line item.
That would speak volumes of what you're trying to.
Perhaps add by me, Mr. Mayor.
Absolutely.
Perhaps add, a line on there for, you could say $25,000.
That's what I was going to suggest.
That would still allow for
And just,
some contingency within that fund, within those funds, and I think we've accomplished what Councilor Starr is talking about. So nothing wrong with adding another line if council so chooses to do that.
And I don't know if you're gonna hand out guns to council.
We'll find no objection here.
Mark, can you, I'm gonna pick on you, but can you sell me on the police vehicle?
Well, once again, it's about trying to retain employees. And it's trying to extend our fleet. Right now, I'm doing the best I can with what we've got. But I'll be honest, the guys, and it's not just our guys, it's police officers in general. When they come to work and they take a fleet car, they treat it like a fleet car, it's a rental car. They drive them hard, they drive them fast when they can, and they put them away. They're not thinking necessarily about the next shift or what all their equipment is and all that kind of stuff. Somebody else is going to take care of it. I find out way after things are broken, and have to try and get it in to get stuff fixed. But time and time again, in fact, there's the Deschutes County just recently purchased enough vehicles to give to every deputy on the sheriff's office, a take-home vehicle, because it will assist them in providing police services, number one. It provides them with a reliable fleet, because when a guy or gal has ownership in that vehicle, they take care of it better. They make sure that it's serviced. There's pride in ownership, right? And what they've seen nationally when looking at fleet, that's why I subscribe to all these fleet magazines and everything else, is what they're seeing nationally is that the fleets are lasting longer. And so you're getting much more out of the vehicle for a longer period of time. It's being cared for better, and I think it's smart money. Because the fleet I've got right now, I put a 2019 Ford Explorer out there. It already has almost 50,000 miles on it. They fight over who's going to drive it because it's the newest car, and they drive it like a race car. And I know that because I look at what their miles per gallon are and that type of thing. In as much as I try to make sure that people are treating our equipment good and are maintaining it well and all that, I also run the edge of driving people away because I end up being that guy who is always writing somebody about, driving too fast or not letting them drive to Silverton and go get a cup of coffee or write a different. But it really is proving out nationally that if you're able to provide that added perk, I'm gonna call it a perk, of being able to take your car home. That's something that we aren't necessarily able to, recreate in another way, We're not able to give them giant raises or that type of thing. But when I have an officer who's looking at going to the city of Malala, I'm sure they're gonna get a raise there. But to be able to take home a car and drive it, Malala's rules are 25 miles as the crow flies from the city of Malala. So you stick a pin in the middle of, or at the city limits of Malala, and then you run it to wherever you happen to go as the crow flies. That's quite a distance. We lost Officer Cody Best to Malala because he got to take the car home to Damascus. And I have been hit up by every single employee that wears a badge and uniform, with the exception of Charlie, about taking a car home. And what that means to them. Because it's done, Providence County Sheriff's Office does it. The Washington County Sheriff's Office does it. A lot of agencies are either moving that way or have been that way for a long time. State police doesn't.
So you have how many vehicles now?
Right now I have 4 fleet cars, plus mine, plus the Tahoe. And the Crown Vic is a spare, if you will, sitting up at the aggregate. And then if I'm able to obtain these 2 from the Arbor funds, that gives me 6 patrol cars. And then add on the lease car, which we're going to talk about tonight. That gets me to kind of a semi-happy place where we're, in a good spot to continue with that rotation of the fleet. And I think through the maintaining the lease program, we can do that. I've got one more lease to enter into after the new budget year. And that will in fact take us to a really good spot where we can get rid of 31, which is the oldest of the Explorers, which has been crashed at least twice, if not 3 times before I ever started work here. And we keep putting money into that car every year to keep it going. So if we can get out ahead of this just a little bit, especially using these ARPA funds, I think that if we continue with the lease program, it really keeps us in a really good spot, especially with issuing those vehicles to officers, ensuring that they're truly taking care of them. Not that we're not trying right now, but I think there's pride in ownership, and I think they will take better care of the cars. And I honestly think that they'll last longer because that's what I'm reading about, that's what I'm hearing about, that's what I've seen.
So this 100,000 will get you 2 more, or
It'll be 2 more.
get you 2 more through the lease program?
No, we'll buy it.
You purchase them outright.
Buy them out, yeah.
And we need one more 22, 23 budget.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, we'll just continue with that lease.
Right.
And what that'll do is that'll allow us to get rid of the Crown Vic and then kind of get 31 out of there. And then I think we'll be in a pretty decent place.
And 31 was bought in 13.
It's actually a 2014 car, but I think it was purchased originally leased in 13, I think.
Any other questions? So there's a list of suggested motions down at the bottom of the first page of 59. you.
So I move to approve the projects listed by management team to be paid with the ARPA funds with the addition of the employee appreciation item.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. So Tony. Motion, Pete second. And approve the project listed plus employee appreciation. Okay, Goldie, whenever you're ready.
All right, Counselor Scorga,
Aye.
Counselor Donahue. Aye. Counselor Ott,
Aye.
Counselor Hooper,
Aye.
Counselor Eater,
Aye.
Counselor Wall,
Aye.
and Mayor Black.
I'll go aye. Okay,
Now, this is gonna be melded into our budget then.
Well, this actually will, yeah, Tara, did you want to explain that?
I heard Pete talk, but I didn't hear what he asked.
I said, so are these recommendations going to be melded into our upcoming budget?
Yes, absolutely. They will be individual line items in the capital outlay.
Thank you.
okay, new business. Mid Valley Community Action Agency Agreement to be vendor. Can you help me out with that, chief, or?
Sure. Tara, would you be able to speak with that, or would you like me to talk about it?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
This is a no cost relationship. If you read the background, this is something that the state mandated down to the counties. The counties passed it through to the Community Action Agency from Mid Willamette Valley. This is an assistance, low-income housing water assistance program. So when we get somebody in our door, we can refer them to this action agency for water assistance, and the agency will pay us directly for the utility bills. So we've already signed the contract since it's no cost to us. We had so we signed on, and we just wanted to let you know that this is what we're doing, and this is information that you can pass out to the residents of Mount Angel as a new assistance program.
Tara, do we have any idea how many people would qualify for this?
No, I don't offhand.
Okay,
Is it something that's printed on the utility billing monthly? Maybe you have a link to that?
No, we would offer it just like when we do St. Joseph shelters, people call us and we give them referrals.
Okay.
But we can post it on our website.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah,
okay, any other questions or comments? New business vehicle lease. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As kind of I talked about just a little bit a couple minutes ago, this continues with our lease program that we've established some years ago to replace vehicles. And this is a request for me to allow me to enter into a lease agreement with Leasing Specialist LLC for a municipal lease for 4 years for a 2022 police vehicle, marked police vehicle.
Do you know what type it will be?
It's a Ford Explorer,
Okay.
and if you'd like to see a picture of it, I have one.
No?
It has landed.
Okay, any other questions? If not,
Is it a Ford Explorer?
Yes.
On here it says Ford Interceptor, is that what they call it?
Yeah.
When they.
Yeah, on the police side, yeah,
Okay,
as a police vehicle, it's called an Interceptor.
gotcha.
To me, it's a Ford Explorer.
Interceptor. Right for football.
looking for a motion or comments?
So this is in our budget right now, current budget.
Yes.
And you're asking us to reaffirm that, or?
Yeah, just to reaffirm the council's decision to continue with that and to allow me to enter into the lease agreement.
So I move to reaffirm the city council's decision as reflected in the fiscal year 21-22 Mount Angel city budget to replace one police patrol vehicle through a lease purchase program and authorize the interim city manager / chief of police to execute the vehicle acquisition in the amount of $13,967.00 from the police vehicle replacement and equipment lines.
Thank you, Tony.
I'll second.
Thank you, David. Okay, we got a motion from Tony, and I'm not gonna read it, and a second by Council Rowe.
Counselor Wall,
Aye.
Counselor Astorga,
Aye.
Counselor Donahue. Aye. Counselor Hopps,
Aye.
Counselor Hopper,
Aye.
Counselor Peter,
Aye.
Mayor Platt.
Aye.
Thank you, council.
Okay, request to expand library services. We've got a laminator, and we want to do laminating and button making at a reasonable cost. Anything to add, Jackie?
No, I just, no, I just think that this would be a service
Sure.
to offer our citizens, and we're not trying to make $1 million here, but just recover our costs.
Sounds good. Questions? If not,
I move that the library begin a trial period of laminating services, 50 cents for 8.5 of them sheet and button making services, $1 each, or 6 for $5 for 1 year from the date of approval, utilizing the supplies on hand with funds generated going into the city's general fund.
thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, Tony, thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Are you ready?
All right, Counselor Eater,
Aye.
Counselor Wall,
Aye.
Counselor Astorga,
Aye.
Counselor Donahue,
Aye.
Counselor Hopps,
Aye.
Counselor Hopper,
Aye.
and Mayor Platt.
Aye. Good,
Thank you.
you bet, thank you. And then, new business, D, appoint budget committee member, Steve Whitechurch. See his application on the back page here.
Is he here tonight?
We got one opening, or is there multiple?
Just lost.
I think we'd have to ask Tara. I thought there was two, but.
If you need, I'll text her real quick, find out. She bounced off. She's at a meeting over in Sun River.
No, that's all right.
She's probably eating dinner right now.
Not just got three. We have three, so. I don't know what it was.
I see a 3-year term.
Yeah.
It's spelled out that there's two terms, one ends in 2023 and one's in 2024, so. Fill one. Well, I'll move to appoint Steve Whiter to the budget committee for the vacancy of the applicant's choosing.
I'll second.
Good. Got a motion by Councilor Hooper, a second by Councilor Story.
Counselor Eager,
Okay.
Counselor Wall,
Hi,
Counselor Escola,
Aye.
Counselor Donahue. Aye. Counselor Pop,
Hi.
Counselor Hooper,
Aye.
Mayor Flood.
Tara just responded to me, so there were 3 openings on the budget committee.
How many?
There were 3. 3, yes.
we still have 2 more to go.
Still 2 more, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, city manager's report.
I will go as quick as I can so that you can be under the 45-minute mark, Mr. Mayor.
30.
We're already past that, sorry. In short, I want to let you know that I've been in discussions with our city attorney about drawing up the official land sale proposal between Burger Time, Liz Ifox, and the city of Mount Angel. That is progressing. Took everything that council said during our last meeting and communicated that to the city attorney. So I hope to see a draft of that very soon. I had a meeting in regards to safe routes to school with our consultant and ODOT. One thing that was learned as a result of that meeting is I was not involved in this at the very beginning, or what the true, I guess, requirements are, but there is a matching funds requirement to go along with the safe routes to school. And I'm not sure how much matching funds we'll have, if any. But I'm going to continue down the road with ODOT and our consultant to try and learn a little bit more. We do have a suggested project grouping and or list. And I will be writing the request. We'll just have to see what happens moving forward. But that was both a disappointment for the superintendent and myself when we heard that term, because that was the first time either of us had heard that or knew anything about it. So, yeah. Back to talking about vehicles, I hung on to that Tahoe for as long as I thought I could, to watching the market and watching how it trended. The city actually made $7,100 off of that Tahoe that I paid $6,000 for. So that worked out really well. I've received a couple emails from the Chamber of Commerce, and I would imagine this Wednesday at the chamber meeting, we'll have a little bit more discussion. But the chamber is not happy with the fountain and looking to possibly have Public Works take that over. And under first blush with our new Public Works director, that's not something that appears to be doable at this time. So I'm going to have a little more conversation than just an email with our Chamber of Commerce about that. I received an email to, actually, I think it was yesterday or today, from Jim Kosel. And he included a document that was submitted to council back in 2014 in regards to ballot measure 50 and how there's some inequities between what properties are taxed well or what properties aren't taxed well, or the fact that there's just flat plain some inequities out there between commercial properties and residential properties. I don't know whether he intends to bring that up again to council, but I just thought I would mention that to you. He brought that up to me and said that a previous city manager back then said that they would take it to the League of Oregon Cities, but nothing happened. So, and I can't very well, I can't retrace that.
And I'll have a conversation with Mr. Colson.
Yeah,
That has been an issue of the league legislative committee every single legislative session. And there are inequities, but it's because the citizens of our state passed 2 ballot measures.
Right.
We've not been able to recover from those yet, but the league has worked on the inequities in the property tax system every single session.
Good.
thank you. And then the last thing I'll leave you with is, over the last 4 years, it's been a very interesting time. I've dealt with email addresses probably for as long as, certainly for as long as everybody else has. But the Mount Angel email address is one of the most difficult things I've ever come across. So I have done some online checking, and I'm talking about domain names now. And I think we have the ability to change ci.mt-angel.or.us to mtangel.gov. Or mountangel.gov.
Yeah.
So I've checked the census and we are the only Mount Angel in the United States.
That would be my question.
And if we weren't, all we would need to do is put an OR on the end of it.
Yep, that's what Dallas does.
But since we are the only Mount Angel, I think we can just do mountangel.gov. And so tomorrow I'm having a conversation with Brian Miles from our IT folks in Woodburn to assist me in making that transition.
Thank you.
I'm hoping that that makes it a little bit easier to communicate in the future.
I always get confused of the dash and the dots and where they should.
Yeah.
And of course, with COVID and masks and phones, it's been even worse, but.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the last thing, I don't have it down as a note, but as we all know, the state's rolling back and has rolled back the mask requirements as of 11:59 PM this coming Friday night. So I would presume that we will no longer have to wear these starting Saturday morning. And we should be rolling back to a lot more normal as we move forward. So
We have a choice.
we do,
Some people think it's going on, that's fine.
but the requirement will be on.
Right.
That's all I have this morning.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Council reports, anybody got anything?
Just the status of the railroad crossing with ODOT. Have you guys heard anything else?
No, but that's one of the conversations that I need to have, the gal from ODOT that I was online with in regards to the safe routes to school. It looks like that is going to come out of one of 2 projects. That's either going to be coming out of the infrastructure bill, coming out of DC, or that's going to be a part of the 80/80 project that ODOT will be rolling through this next year or 2. And she's the gal that I need to talk to about that project, because when it comes to safe routes to school, the projects that we may be able to get done may get done out of that ADA money that's coming through Mount Angel. So we may not have to necessarily worry about the matching funds, but that's, once again, more communication I need to do with ODOT and our consultant.
Okay, I got a good question. Where are we at the speed trailer? For better terms.
George, I just bought the rest of the stuff that we needed to be able to move it out. George will be here on Wednesday, so I believe it's going to see the light of day on Wednesday. We had to, unfortunately, we found damage on the darn thing. So it took some time to order in parts, and then they actually sent a tech from Pennsylvania to come and fix it. And they run it through its paces, just sitting in the public works shop. And looks like it's good to go. The cool thing is we get to operate that thing from the cloud, so we can do it all from the computer and it just downloads. So I'm very hopeful that when George comes to work on Wednesday, it's out in the community. Do you have a suggested place for it?
Wherever you want to put it. Probably up by the Abbey somewhere.
Well, those signs are actually going to be installed very, very soon, actually. Alan Dahlberg and I have been out there and have been actually surveying sunlight because they're solar signs, just to verify that there's enough sun, and there is. So, hey, Alan, can you speak to when we're going to put posts in the ground up there?
Yeah, everything's ready to go. The guys were putting them together today in the shop, mounting them on the poles, and I'm assuming they're going to go up tomorrow or Wednesday.
There you go. Thanks, Alan.
You're welcome.
Another question, did all the concerned citizens that were here last meeting get their answers?
Is that for me? Is that a question for me?
Sure, Alan.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Did all the concerned citizens that were here last meeting get their answers?
Can you, what were their questions actually? Because there was a lot.
Bring it with me. Lack of communication, stakes being moved when they shouldn't have been. Can't remember. There was 5 of them.
I have not been in contact with them, so I haven't heard anything from them since.
Well, I talked to 2 of them before they left, and I asked them to let me know what they found out about the stakes and the property, and no one has called me. And I was waiting for them to call me, and no one did.
Mr. Mayor.
So,
Go ahead, Alan. Sorry.
well, I haven't heard anything about the surveying. That's all county. So Matt Fesick is dealing with that from the county.
And those folks that were here that were talking about those specific items, their properties are in the county, they're not in the city. And so Alan, like you said, has circled back with the county, and so the county is working with those folks on those matters.
And I personally don't have any problem, as long as we don't have to have a lot of staff time, but just answering questions that we have. But you're right.
But unfortunately, we didn't have all the,
Yeah.
we didn't have the answers to some of their questions because it has to do with Marion County.
Well, I'm gonna say I've answered a bunch out there, questions that have come up. And they know I'm gonna tell them the truth.
Yep.
I'm assuming they believe that because all my answers that I've given them, but like I say, I'm just waiting for them to contact me, and I'd be happy to continue on with it.
I can tell you that we've done Alan Dahlberg and working with Saunders and the other company and everybody, we've done some great work in relation to that 24-inch pipe that's in the ground out there and making sure that drains properly. Because that is actually not an abandoned drain, that is not an abandoned pipe. That is actually a city storm pipe. And so we've had significant conversations with our city engineer and then making sure that everything gets reconnected and engineered and approved, flowing properly. So I think, especially with the last torrential rain we had, the 2 inches of rain, there really wasn't any ponding out there. And so hopefully we've got some of those issues resolved and we'll continue to move forward. Alan, did you want to mention anything about paving or anything while we're on the topic?
About what?
Paving?
Yeah, paving's gonna be done this Friday. I'm gonna go out Thursday and do proof rolling, make sure they got proper compaction, and then they're gonna pave on Friday.
Or they paving at
In the development, in the new development,
development.
yes.
And what's gonna happen eventually with the roads they tore up? Is that county?
Sorry, what's that?
The roads that they kind of mutilated, is that county?
Yeah, what they're gonna, I don't know if they're gonna pave that Friday, but the interior of the project will be paved on Friday. And eventually, the roads that they tore up out in the county, those will get paved too, but I'm not sure if that's getting done on Friday or not.
Alan, can we look into seeing when they plan on repaving in front of the project on West Church and West Markham?
Yes,
Perfect.
I'll find out.
Thank you.
Okay. Mayor's report, we've been negotiating, as you guys know, Pete, Ray, myself, Alan's been involved. I don't know anybody else, but anyway, we've got an agreement with Jeff Roof for his crops. Not a signed agreement yet, but we came to consensus with Max Roof about, what was it, a week or two ago? And then the buyers, they've got a draft document that I'm hoping that they're gonna be willing to sign, and we need to meet with the Guerreros yet. They've been out of town, but they're back now, and I'll call them tomorrow and try to schedule another meeting. So we're getting real close to getting those agreements done and move ahead with that sewer line project. We don't have anything else unless you guys can think of something. He says, I want to get out of here. The heck with you. So anyway, thank you very much for being here tonight.